y'all, and welcome to episode 56 of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. My name is Kay, and this is my podcast all about my knitting adventures here in Surprise, Arizona. So welcome back to any returning viewers, and a huge welcome to any new viewers. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. We've got a couple of finished objects to talk about. We have some winners to announce for the Sock Crazy Cow for 2018 and the Crazy Sock Lady Designs Make Along for 2018. Because I have yet to put up the video of the prize winners. I have yet to record, not just put up. It feels like the beginning of 2019 has just been insane. Does it feel like that to anyone else? Or maybe it's just my household, but it feels like it's been crazy. So I have yet to record the video with the winners, so we're going to go ahead and announce those today. So if you participated in those two knit-alongs, make sure to listen up here in just a few moments. And I think let's go ahead and jump right in. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as The Crazy Sock Lady, and we do have a group for the podcast on Ravelry. If you head over on Ravelry and search on the groups tab right at the top of the screen and type in Crazy Sock Lady Podcast, it should pop right up. If you don't feel like searching for any of those places, you can just look right down here in the down bar on YouTube. There's links to all of the places that you can find me, as well as show notes for this episode. So first, let's just go ahead and announce the winners that we have for the knit-alongs that ended last year. I feel horribly that it has taken me until the middle of January to announce those winners. And what we're going to do for these, I've got a cubby upstairs full of prizes. You're going to get just a surprise package. I'm going to go into the cubby and pull out some prizes once these winners contact me, and I've got bags and yarn up there, so I know that y'all will not be disappointed. And I think it's kind of fun to get a surprise package as well. So the first knit along was the Sock Crazy Cow for 2018, and I have two winners for that one, and I'll put the information here at the bottom of the screen as well for those winners. The first one is can you guys hear Emmy meowing? She's at the kitchen window. Sometimes she sits there and meows at birds, lizards, the neighbors. But the first winner was post number 3030, and that is the Knitted Lamb. And the second winner is post number 3271, and that is Woolen Knots. The second knit along that we had come to a close was the Crazy Sock Lady Designs Make Along. And the first winner for that one is post number 103, and that is Mother of Twins 2. And the second winner is post number 90, which is KR Low. So if the four of you would get in contact with me, Ravelry is the best place for this, for knit-alongs. So send me a message on Ravelry with your full name and your mailing address so that I can get some prizes pulled out of that cubby and get those sent off to you. And just a reminder that we do have the third annual Selfish Cow currently going on right now. This is for anything that you make for yourself. This started December 24th and it ends March 31st. So head over to the Ravelry group. It'll give you all of the rules for this knit along, and take a look at what is going on in the chatter thread, because I'm loving what you guys are working on. I'm really enjoying going through there. I find that the chatter thread, FO threads, they're such an amazing place to find inspiration for color combinations that maybe, I know some that I'm like, I never would have thought to put those two together, but they look amazing. For new patterns, I'm always finding new patterns through the chatter threads and FO threads. So head over and take a look, chat along, share what you're working on. It's just a fun knit along. I love this one so much. And any makers who are ever interested in donating prizes for the podcast for giveaways or knit-alongs, just get in contact with me. I love being able to share the love that way. Last thing for the Ravelry group, we do have one swap that is open right now, and there are 11 spots left in this. The dyer for this one is Melissa of Honeybee Knits, and I love her yarn, so I'm so excited about this swap. The full list of what all you get, how much money is due, because the prices do vary depending on where the minis are shipping to. That's going to be over in the Ravelry group, so head over there and check all of that out. Basically, you get 10 40-yard minis, and the prices, like I said, they do vary depending on where they are shipping to. So for all of the information, you want to head over and check out the Ravelry group. All right, finished object time. gonna set my notebook aside here and pick up my first finished object. You'll notice I'm wearing one, and we're gonna talk about that in just a moment. But first up, I have a finished pair of socks. I finished my January Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I am so excited to have these done. I feel like this is a great start to the new year, that we're halfway through January and I'm already done with these. I'm doing the knit along that Susan of Desert Vista Dye Works hosts for her yarn. Basically, you knit one pair of socks every month using her yarn, and 1 month is done. It's done, you guys. So this is Susan's Fivel colorway. And I did these shorter than I normally would. If you've been watching for a while, you know I typically make my socks, the legs are usually longer. But I did these shorter because this was a leftover skein, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough leftover to put into my scrappy blankets, because that's a high priority for me. I love my scrappy blankets. So I just did these shorter since I wasn't working from a full skein, but they are the 3 inches. It has to be at least 3 inches, so they do fit that measurement for the requirement for the knit along. So for these, I knit them on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, and I did an afterthought heel. For my afterthought heels, I follow the Kirby Werby tutorial on YouTube, and I'll put a link to that down below in the down bar. And the way that I do mine, if you watch the video, you'll understand what I mean by this, but I do 4 plain knit rounds before I start the decreases. That gives me just enough room within my heel here for everything to fit nice and good. So that's how I do mine, and I did 64 stitches for this, and they don't match exactly, and I don't mind. I like when they match, I will say that, but I'm not super particular about having my self-striping match exactly. It doesn't really bother me, and since I was working from a partial skein, I didn't want to, you know, have to pull to try to match things. So I didn't really mess with it too much, but that is the first finished object. And these sock blockers are from Knitting Left, and they have cats on them. They're so cute. Let me go ahead and take this off so you guys can see. They've got cats on them. I love them so much. So, second finished object I'm wearing, I finished my Heathrow. I'm so excited to have it done and off my needles. I feel like I'm doing great trying to get my whips down this month. 2 finished objects, 2 whips off the needles. This one had been on the needles since September, so this one needed to come off. So this is my Heathrow. The pattern is by Marie Green, who is Olive Knits, and I should probably go ahead and take it off so you guys can see, because I want to talk about the construction of this pattern. So let's go ahead and talk about the yarn really quick. I've had some questions that I want to answer as I go through the construction of the pattern. The yarn that I used, I picked up at Pearl in the Pines in Flagstaff, Arizona when I was up there in September. And it is a Queensland rustic tweed, and it's a mix of like everything. It's got alpaca, wool, acrylic, and viscose. It is super soft and squishy. I feel like I'm getting funny shadows right here, basically from the iPad, because the sun is only coming in one of the windows over here where it is at this time of day. But we're gonna go with it. So I want to talk about the construction of this pattern. I thought the pattern was very well written. I loved working this up. It was somewhat mindless on parts. I did have to pay attention in the cabled section because there are, all along the bottom, there are cables. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but there is a cabled section that runs all along the bottom. So basically with this, you knit a big rectangle, big old rectangle, and you add sleeves to it. So I've had a lot of questions with this. The first question that I had was the cable work hard? No, I didn't feel that it was hard. I did have to pay attention. It wasn't something that I memorized where I didn't have to look at the pattern. I had to, when I got to that cabled section in the row, I had to look at the pattern and follow the chart. It is charted, it is written, so you have both options to go by, whichever you prefer. So I did have to follow that. So I don't feel it was hard, but I could not memorize it and go from memory. But it was nothing that was crazy difficult to get through a row. The second question I had, would I say this is a beginner-friendly pattern for maybe your first garment? I would say yes. I feel like you basically knit a rectangle and add sleeves to it. So you are knitting like a wrap and adding sleeves to it, I feel like. There's no crazy shaping or short rows to try to do. It's just kind of simple and straightforward. So I would say this is definitely beginner friendly. If you're comfortable doing cables, if you are comfortable knitting in the round, you know, when it comes to the sleeves, you're knitting in the round. I didn't feel that anything was crazy difficult. I would say this is not beginner friendly. So I would say yes, definitely beginner friendly. There was one more question I thought. Let me take a look. Maybe those were the only two. It was a hard pattern, but I think I've kind of went through that. I think that was a question I had as well. Was it the pattern hard? But like I said, I think I already basically answered that with, no, the cable work wasn't hard, and I would say it's beginner friendly. But I really enjoyed it. One thing I would say is I wish I had blocked it more aggressively when it comes to the length that it ends up being. I talked about that. I think I talked about that on my last episode, about how I definitely hope that it blocked out, because on the back it was a little shorter than I wanted it to be. And it did block out to a length that I'm happy with, but I think it would block out more. And when it comes time to, you know, wash this and I reblock it, I will definitely block that just a tiny bit more aggressively in that section, because it does have the ability to grow a little bit more. So I wish I had blocked that a bit more aggressively. I'm happy with the length, but I would be even happier if it was a little bit longer in the back. But other than that, I love it. Today will be the third day. I'm actually going to put it back on. Today will be the third day that I have worn it this week. I'm just really happy with it. I think it's super comfy. It's something that I feel like I can just wrap up in. It's almost like a big blanket with sleeves, basically. So I will pop in some pictures that I took this week of it on, so you can kind of get a full body length of, you know, how it looks when it's being worn. But that's my Heathrow, and I'm so pleased with it. I had rushed to get this done. If you watched last episode and followed on Instagram, I was rushing to get this done to be able to wear it to Flagstaff this past weekend, because I just thought that would be fun since I bought the yarn on our last trip. But our weekend actually got canceled, our knitting weekend. So hopefully we'll get to reschedule that soon, but it's all good. I ended up not having to block it in the back of the minivan. Because that was probably what was going to have to happen, because I was not going to get it done and blocked in time for it to be ready to go that Friday morning. So it all worked out. I'll have it for the next time we go up to Flagstaff, and I've just really enjoyed wearing it this week. Like I said, this is the third time I've worn it this week, and I definitely know it's going to be something I wear a lot, especially around the house. I love just being able to throw it on, because sometimes I'm chilly. We live in Arizona. It doesn't get super, super cold here in Phoenix. So sometimes it's somewhat chilly in the house, and I love having something like this to throw on. So I know it's going to be a go-to staple in my wardrobe. And I talked last episode about when I blocked this, it would kind of be telling for me, did I want to buy this yarn again? And I will say I'm going to, as long as they have, you know, the amount I need, colors I want, all of that. Next time we do make it up to Flagstaff, I'm going to get more of this yarn from Pearl and the Pines. Find another sweater pattern that I like and get more of this yarn because I love the feel of it. It is so soft. Now is about the time that I would talk about works in progress, but we're not going to show any today. They're all right down here at the bottom of this table, but I don't have any new works in progress. I haven't cast on anything new. Go me, I'm doing good. And there isn't much progress, not enough to really show. So next podcast, hopefully there will be a lot more progress and maybe even a couple more finished objects. I'm getting very close on a few. So instead, we're going to talk about some things that will be cast on coming up soon. So my youngest sister, Courtney, is pregnant and she is due in March. I have not made anything yet. I've got to get on the ball. So earlier this week, I picked up a couple of things to make her a blanket and then a sweater and a couple of different things for the baby. So I thought I would show you those and talk about what I'm planning to do with them. So first I picked up, she's doing pastel colors. So I picked up 2 skeins of this Lion brand Mandala, and this is the Neverland colorway, which I think is a fun name. So these are just like fun pastel rainbow almost. So I'm excited. I wrote down the name of the pattern. The Rainbow Ripple Baby Blanket by Celeste Young. That's the pattern that I'm going to do for this, and I found that pattern through Aquila of the Lefty Knitter podcast. She's done a couple of those recently, and I think they look so fun. It's a crochet pattern, and I've kind of been itching. I've got my crochet corner to corner, my scrappy blanket going, but I've been itching for a crochet project recently. So I think this will be a lot of fun and kind of scratch the itch of needing something crochet going right now. And I decided on the Lion brand Mandala because I know Courtney. I love her, but I know her. It needs to be a sturdy workhorse that will last and be like the easiest care possible. You can't go wrong with this. This is 100% acrylic. She can throw it in the washer and dryer. She will not have to give it a second thought. So this will be perfect, especially with a baby. Babies are messy, so this will be great. Then I also picked up, I was texting her while I was there looking and sending her pictures of different yarns and colors to kind of see what she wanted. So I also picked up this ginormous ball of yarn. This is Bernat Baby Sport, and I think it's lavender, yes. Lavender, and it's 100% acrylic as well. I'm thinking I'll do just a bunch of little things. I think I could get a sweater and a couple of other things out of this probably. I mean, it's massive. It's 300 grams, 1,077 yards. I should be able to get a lot out of this. Do you guys have any good recommendations for baby sweaters or any other little baby items that I could use sport weight yarn to knit or crochet for a little baby girl? Yeah, let me know. I haven't done baby items in a very long time, so I haven't really looked. I did save a couple of patterns in my favorites recently when I was kind of looking and thinking what would I make. But let me know if you guys have any recommendations of ones you've done or ones you've seen that you think would work for this yarn. I'm hoping to get a couple more whips off the needles before I pick up my crochet hook and start on that blanket. I feel like baby things will go fairly quickly. I know a blanket's a little bigger, but it's crochet, and I crochet a lot faster than I knit. So I think that'll go rather fast. So So that finishes up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for a little chat about what I've been up to with my knitting and some dream crocheting. I don't know why, I've just been really craving crochet lately. I think just the different movements of my hands, not the same repetitive motion of knitting, just still being able to do something with my hands but switch it up a bit with crochet. And that was my first love after all in the fiber world. So in some ways it's kind of nice to get back to that occasionally and have a crochet project going. So I'm excited, and maybe by next podcast I will have started the crochet baby blanket. But thank you guys for joining me today. I'll see you guys again for another episode soon. Until then, happy knitting. Bye.